What's up, everybody? Welcome to Shapiro's Rooted in American Craft. I am Matt, alongside my sister Alena. Hope you guys are having a good week. We kept our word. I told you we would be back this week. We did not lie. We are here. We have interviews set up, and this week we interviewed it's a husband and wife team who do a lot of our wooden boxes and inlay boxes, and chances are pretty good that if you're listening to this, you've purchased one of their boxes with a quote on the lid, or you've given it as a gift. Alena, how's your week going?
Hey, so far so good. I am totally in Valentine's mode right now. So lots of jewelry coming in, lots of jewelry going back out. And yeah, Valentine's Day is tomorrow for those of you listening on Thursday. If you haven't gotten anything for your Valentine yet, come and see us. We have lots of goodies still, and we gift wrap, so we're making it super easy.
Yeah, and most people seem to like jewelry a lot more than flowers and chocolate, and it seems to last a lot longer. So skip the chocolate, skip the flowers, come get some handmade jewelry, and you can put it in one of the beautiful wooden quote boxes that fits your Valentine perfectly. So
there you go.
I think that could be a perfect gift, and then we'll gift wrap it, and away you go.
Yep. Yeah, we make it easy.
Are you guys doing anything special for Valentine's Day?
No plans. No.
Nice.
Guy and I are not big Valentine's people, but that's all right.
Yeah, I'll just be working. So
yeah,
that's the joys of small business during the holidays. We just get to keep working.
Yep.
So what else? What's come in this week? Anything of excitement? I know the UPS keeps showing up every day.
Well, if you do want to give flowers for Valentine's Day this year, instead of giving real flowers, we have some new enamel flowers that just came in, so you can make your own bouquet that will live forever. We also have wood flowers you can do the same thing for, and I think we have some glass ones left as well. So that's all new this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what was your takeaway from the Super Bowl? Did you watch it? Thoughts?
I did watch it. I didn't really care who won this year. I didn't really particularly like either team. I'm glad, it wasn't a three-peat, I guess. It's nice to have a new champion, but I honestly didn't care one way or the other. What about you?
I have a guilty pleasure of sports betting, so I had put money on the Eagles, and I managed to lose every bet because I added different elements, like mainly a Saquon Barkley touchdown. How he didn't score a touchdown is beyond me. And then I took the under, and unfortunately in the last 3 minutes of the game, the Chiefs just gave up and did not seem to care to play defense because they knew they already won. So I lost the under. I lost the Saquon Barkley touchdown, but, congratulations to the Eagles.
Yep.
I am a Saquon Barkley fan, so I was rooting for them, and I liked watching him at Penn State, so that was the only reason I was cheering for him. So, congrats Eagles, congrats Eagles fans. If you're listening and you're an Eagle fan, congratulations. If you're a Chiefs fan, you've had a good run, so I don't feel too bad for you. So this week, I teased it earlier, we interviewed Jessie and Dan from Mikitowski Woodworking. They are out of they're Michigan/Wisconsin. I guess it's separated by a river. So it's very, you jump over the river, you're in Wisconsin, you go back, you're in Michigan. So they're way up north, and you want to bring them on and see, get to know them a little bit better?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. We're doing good.
Happy to be here.
So who are you, and where are you located, and what do you make?
You want me to start, or do you want to? So I'm Jessie, and this is my husband, Dan. We own Mikitowski Woodworking. We're located in Eastern Wisconsin/Michigan's Upper Peninsula. So we're about 45 miles of Green Bay, Wisconsin, if you're familiar with Packers, the NFL football team, to give people some location. We're right on Lake Michigan.
Nice. So what's the weather like there right now? Because it's It's a freezing about 78 degrees and blue skies down here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different here. It's about
9 degrees.
9 degrees.
Ooh. Mm-mm.
And we just
Wow.
we haven't had a ton of snow, but we just got a bunch of snow recently. So our kids have been happily sledding every night after school.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess it gives you an opportunity to get them into the shop and have them work on some boxes for you.
Yeah.
Yes. And they do like to do that.
Nice. So is your studio near the house, or is it connected to the house?
No, it's about 10 miles away.
Okay, so you have
We
to...
live in Menominee, Michigan, the UP.
Okay.
So there's a river that divides us, kind of like at Twin Cities.
Okay,
Marinette,
very cool.
Wisconsin is where our shop is.
So how did you get into woodworking? What's the what's the backstory?
I kind of got into it. My dad and my grandpa have always made everything. You know, they weren't ones to buy anything. If they could make it, they would. And I just kind of grew up with that, the mentality of you can make anything you want, you know, as long as you keep doing it, you know, keep trying. So that's kind of how I got into it. Just watching them make different things that, you know, I never thought you could make, and just kind of expanding on that. I like the creativity of it and just possibilities of making, you know, what you see in your head versus what you just see out there. So that's kind of how it got me into it and hooked on it, just the possibilities of it.
Very cool. And Jessie, do you do any of the woodworking for the studio?
No.
Okay.
No.
She does a lot of grading of my ideas.
Yeah. I would, during like times, I'd go back and stuff, and they'd be like, "No, you need to leave." Like, go upfront to what you do. Like, you got to be there. I do, and we do have a part-time person that comes in and helps me in our busiest season for engraving and whatnot. But I do most of the laser engraving, and I do like all the business side of stuff. So our duties are, while separate, also together. Like he mentioned, like if he does have an idea, which you have, you know, we communicate what we think might work, what will not work, or, you know, different design ideas, like prototypes, you know, that kind of stuff. So we work closely when we're designing something new. And then like how we're actually going to market that and bring that to life, you know. But for the actual woodworking, no, it's not.
She's creative in her own way.
Well, it's a good division of duty, so you're not stepping on each other's toes, and
Very
Yeah.
you
true.
know, it makes it probably easier to work together, and
Yes.
also live together. And are you guys married?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So, and you know, between the kids, married life, and studio life, I'm sure it's nice to have separate roles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what goes into the design process when you come up with a new design or a new box? How does that what's the first thing you think of? First step.
What's different? You know, what have I not seen? And that's just kind of, you know,
Yeah.
what the wood is. What, you know, what you're with. Is it a unique wood? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it, you know, does it have distress marks in it? You know, because then you can turn that into a different style product, you know, based on if it has the brown marks or the knots and stuff like that. So just try to make something unique. And if it's not unique, everything has to have its own little twist on it, I suppose. So every piece of wood you get it's you want to do something different. You have your normal jobs that you have to do with it, but you're always thinking, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And, you know, you check them off, and later, if you get time, you give it a shot and see what happens.
Do you have a design background, or do you just did you jump into woodworking from just watching your dad and grandpa and kind of just learn kind of on the job?
Yeah, just learning on the job.
Nice.
I guess you just can't be afraid to, you know, fail. So you're going to fail over and over, you know. Even if you've done the same thing, you know, 1,000 times, there's going to be a time that you just mess up, and you just got to move on from that. But no, I mean, I have no schooling in design or, you know, anything like that. Just get up and give it your best, I guess. It's kind of
There you go.
where I go.
What do you think's the hardest part for working with wood that you've experienced?
It's never the same. It's from every board to each foot of a board. It the grains change. It moves. It's a live thing. So it's always humidity affects it. So it's always moving, and that's something that you have to really consider in everything you're doing is how is that wood going to move, and how are you going to let it move without cracking or warping or that thing. So that's definitely I think the biggest thing on it is trying to predict what something's going to do when you have all the knowledge to try to predict it, but you never really know what's going to happen until it doesn't.
Yeah, and you guys, your work's incredible. We've carried a number of woodworkers over the years, and just the details that you guys get, and just how, I don't know if tight fitting is the correct term or the right word to use, but I just love how your drawers fit so tight, and just the little details of the corner accents that I guess you notch in, or I don't know. I'm not doing it a justice, whatever the technical term is, but it's incredible. The inlay work that you guys do. I think glassblowers and woodworkers that can do inlay, it seems to be the most difficult medium in my opinion. So awesome job on all your boxes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So now, how did the studio start?
Yeah, so if you've seen our logo or whatever, it says since 1986, I believe is the date. And so you might be thinking, if you're looking at us, like, okay, these people, like, how old are these people? And so we actually purchased it, as we mentioned, we're from a small town. We purchased it from the previous owners, from Mikitowski, Mike and Liz. And they started it from their house, and kind of when the whole art craft kind of renaissance, I guess I would say, kind of really blew up in the late 80s, the early 90s. They started this, I think, right around that time. We heard that they were interested in selling their business, and we approached them, and actually we found out that they wanted to sell their building first. And so we approached them and we're like, what are you doing? And they said, we're actually looking at retiring. We want to get some of our bigger assets sold, and we want to retire, And so we ended up purchasing it from them at the end of 2017, and worked with them closely for a couple of years. And then they fully retired, and, we kept running it basically. So, we kind of got the best of both worlds, because we got a little, like Dave said, he has always been working with wood and been into design and projects and, all that kind of stuff throughout his whole life. But, we got to learn from Mike as well, and, learn through those few years. And I got to learn from Liz, the business side of things. And we kind of just did it from there. It just kind of worked out,
As you said, kind of just as you always know you want to do something, and most people don't have the opportunity to try to fulfill the dreams. They always, you have a job, and that's America, right? You have to work, you have kids, you have this, you have that. And I never saw myself ever being owning a business, or, always wanted to, but at the time I was a electrical lineman working power lines in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And, I loved doing that, and we were providing good for the family and everything else. But when you had started thinking, they're getting rid of their business, and you start thinking about it, that's when you have to take a chance, and it's on your own, or, continue in something that's comfortable. But we took a chance and moved, which we got to move back to our hometown. So, that was nice. But yeah, I wouldn't look back for anything on it.
Did you feel added pressure taking on? I mean, you've kept their name too. You kept their last name. You kept the name of their studio. Did you feel like an added level of pressure that you had to maintain a certain standard just based on what they've built the past 25 plus years?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You never want to deteriorate in anything you do. And when somebody sets the bar that high, Mike and Liz did a great job with starting this and having the original products and what they did. And yeah, there's no room to go down in any remarks on that, or you're not going to make it. So you can only go up.
Owning a small business is probably one of the biggest challenges, that unless you're in it, you don't have a clue what's involved in running it. What was the biggest surprise for you guys going from, working for someone else to suddenly you're working for yourself?
You got to come up with all the answers. It goes from the littlest things of trash day to ordering materials to computer paper to printers to, just the everyday in and outs that, I'm dealing with repairing machines all the time, and I'm not a mechanic. So it's, again, you just learn how to do it. And that's just the revolving door. It's always something different. And you got to accept that, I guess.
Yeah, I think I've become a plumber, an electrician, a lighting engineer. I've learned about different hues and temperatures of light bulb colors. So yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise for me, is just how much things you can't turn to anybody. There's no maintenance department that can say, hey, there's an issue over here. And I know Alena has grown a lot as well, and just kind of figuring out how to overcome the obstacles of ordering and dealing with the artists, and things may be months late or weeks late, and how to overcome the challenges. So it's until I always am curious, when people start their own business, everyone thinks it's very easy until you're in it, and then you suddenly realize, wow, this there's a lot that goes on that's not making the boxes, it's everything else, or it's not selling the artwork, it's everything else.
Work.
Yeah. No. It's two like came together and then we lived together, and that was like, okay, I'm like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. So that's just no. Like
when we have family dinners, my husband has like a code word that if we're all talking about things too much, he'll say it so that we all have to all stop talking business. So we can definitely appreciate that.
Like for me, because like before, as he said, he was an electric lineman. Sometimes he would be gone, and I wouldn't see him for like a week.
Okay.
He would be like I was a special event coordinator. We threw tons of events, and so sometimes I'd be gone on the weekends. I wouldn't see him all weekend when he was home, and he'd be working. So like it was like the culture, kind of like a shock when we were like, oh, I can walk back there and actually see you for more. So it's just kind of that was funny. Very nice for the most part.
Yeah. So what is a typical day like for you guys? I'm sure there's no such thing as typical, but how many people do you have working with you? What does your days look like?
In the back, the shop part with me.
Yeah.
We currently have 3 people that work with me. One is she sprays majority of the time. She's a jack of all trades. She can, basically do whatever she wants to do, but she does all our spraying in the booth, and which is just a water-based spray that we switched to. And then I got Glenn and Tara. They both can do anything back there also. A lot of the detailing, jigging up of pieces. But yeah, come in any typical day. Depends on what pieces we're working on, but I make sure everything's set 3 steps ahead, because you always have to be ahead in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm working on is typically the next project coming up, and then bounce it back. There's always at least 4 or 5 projects going on.
Okay.
You fall behind otherwise. So, because wood's different stages. So everything's in different stages, and it's just making sure that everything continues flowing without missing pieces or parts or, things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And like similar, so something that is maybe a little different about us versus maybe some other artisans is, we do employ people to help us, and so we stock our products. So our products are in stock on our shelf. So it's nice when we work with wholesale, is we typically ship relatively fast. People aren't usually waiting. Yeah. People aren't usually waiting for weeks, for months, on end, or like they don't have to place an order like now and then say like, oh, I want it I get it by May or whatever for the springtime. We do that. We can't do that. But we also do ship quickly. So that's something that's kind of nice with our products is that we do have them in stock, ready kind of to go more or less. At least something, we typically have something. It might not be exactly in the wood species, but we typically have something to offer. And like my typical day is like printing off orders in the morning. And again, I do have someone part-time that comes in. It really depends on the week if she comes in or not. She's more or less full-time from like October through the end of December. And then also full-time typically like March through June. So like there's a few months where she's not here, but,
Okay.
and, we print orders, look them over, that kind of thing, ship, pack, engrave, and then just all the boring stuff that no one
When you get your raw materials in to make the boxes, are they massive sheets of wood that you'll plane down? Are they smaller, like the curly maple, for example? Or what does the raw material look like that you guys receive?
Yeah, they're boards, rough cut boards. They're about an inch, 15, 16 thick. We do have a lot of our wood, some of it planed before it comes in on one side. It's easier to see the grain, and it just helps me a lot with time because time is money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all a rough board. They can come in depending on the type of wood from 3 inches wide all the way up to I've had some that comes in that's 36 inches wide by 12 feet long, and then it's just breaking them down and handling. Each time I get a shipment of wood in, I take every single piece off the pallet, flip them around, looking at them, and then I'm separating them on my own grade. So that's kind of on when you're looking on making things. And I might pull in, if a board is so thick and I get a group that's, wow, this is amazing for whatever, I'm putting this to a side and I'm making this box out of it because I don't get that very often and that. So I'm always flipping wood and this is what I can use this. And a lot of it is just, I can't use this, not for my business anyway. It's not the quality. So that gets pushed into little side projects and different things like that. But yeah, every time I get lumber, it's very intensive because then I get around 3 or 4 times before I even decide what you're doing with it, I guess, to try to get the most out of it.
Now, will you have to let it dry out or anything, or if it comes in, say on a Monday, are you able to use it on a Tuesday to start building?
Okay. Everything we get is kiln dried,
okay.
So it's all ready to go. The back of my shop, my storage area, is everything's climate controlled, so everything's humidity controlled. I got steam that gets put out into the ductwork internally, and it keeps my humidity in my shop at 55%, and that is in my storage facility and where I'm actually making everything. So I keep it has to be like that. Doesn't have to be, but it makes life a lot easier. So yeah, everything's pretty much set when it's in here.
Alena, how jealous would Guy be right now?
My husband does wood turning as like a hobby project, but he's just, outside in our shed, and in Florida, it's nothing but humidity. So he has to let things dry out for like a year at a time before he can touch it. So yeah, he'll be very jealous of that setup.
Yeah, he's
always
one
of the improvements too, because
yeah,
like in Liz, we had it was just a non-heated outside shed, and we have very huge temperature swings, from summer and everything else. So that was a big thing, because if you have even like just 2 or 3 boards that are beautiful and they end up wrecking them because your own, I guess, fault, that's a tough one. But yeah, we've made that so it makes my job easier, I guess, by a lot.
I'm sure
it's always moving. It's still moving. It's always doing everything. Some wood that you cut on a table saw, it'll as you cut it, it'll bow up like a bow and arrow. And other stuff, as you cut it, it splits this way, and then when you get through it, it just pops. I mean, there's a lot of different stresses in wood and different grains that are, I don't know, you get used to it, but they're all different.
Yep.
Is there anything you can do for those that are hobbyists and listening? Is there any tips that you have to prevent the wood from moving like that when they cut it and whatnot?
Depends on what, depends on what machine you're using it on. But I make jigs. I make homemade jigs out of everything, or for everything. Because a lot of my products are rounded, or there's slight angles on them. I don't usually have just a squared, not because I don't like it or anything. I can do other things with shapes. So I actually use Bondo. I make a lot of jigs out of Bondo because I can Bondo that exact shape onto things. Oil your piece of wood, and then you create it out of Bondo, and you can cut through Bondo, sand through Bondo. So I like anything I'm making like for wooden, I'll make the brace part of the jig maybe out of wood. I use a Bondo for a lot of different things in the wood shop, which is crazy. I've never used that on a car, but
Yeah, interesting.
I can make a jig out of it. So
So is that how the quote boxes that we have are the USA boxes. Those lids have a slight curve to them. Is that so you'll take a thicker piece of wood and with your jigs slowly sand down to the curve of that you have?
no, those are
okay.
Those are, I have a molding machine also, which is, I guess it's kind of the backbone, I guess, of the shop. As far as I get all my profiles and different pieces, those are all handmade blades. So I have a hand sharpener back there. Mike went through and handmade a lot of these blades.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm just keeping them up by resharpening them, and then we can retool them and make new ones as we go. But yeah, we're still doing all the in-house sharpening and everything on all the blades that go in the molder. And those molder blades is what gives me that first profile. Okay. Then after that, it's all hand sanding. It's all cutting the fit and, putting inside lines in and routing. But yeah,
so the molder, you just stick kind of the wood in and it just kind of molds it to whatever shape that you wanted the blades to be. Okay.
Yeah, in the short.
Cool.
Speak of it, yeah.
Yeah, for layman's terms.
Yeah, so like those corners, like on the USA, they're all hand done. So like one of those possibility box, the quote boxes, those corners, are all actually like hand. It's amazing to see what they do on the sander. It's like
every piece that comes out of our shop has been touched by a hand sander multiple times.
Yeah.
And those are usually, palm sanding, upright sanders. It's all. Yeah. You can't sand it if you're not doing it by hand. You can't overlook your piece. And a lot of times they're saying something, oh, there's a crack here. We want this, that gets pitched. You can't do anything with that crack or you're not going to send it out. So that's the other thing. You have to keep your bar up here all the time, because the minute you start just trying to get away with things is when, it's going to be a downhill slide. So you have to keep the integrity and everything up there all the time.
So do you guys have any idea how many of those quote boxes you have sold over time? We've sold probably thousands of them. So I can only imagine how many you guys have made in the shop.
A ton of that. We sell tens of thousands every year.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that times 40, or 10,000 times 40 is, 4 million. Be like our slogan, like how
right.
He's constantly working on USA's all the time.
Yeah.
Waiting on something, or we're in between something. That's one product that is continuously always being made. The pieces are always there. We're always, if anything's getting low, we're stocked up and ready to go for that. It's always moving. So
yeah, I'm always amazed how fast you guys ship when we order those. So she's doing a good job.
Yeah, those things move.
And I also say the quality that you guys have, since you've taken over or have partnered and then moved on to taking over, it's not dropped at all. So if anything, it's gotten even better. So I will congratulate you on keeping the standards very high. And the product has been really high quality as well. So from a gallery owner, thank you for that. And both front of the house and back of the house has been great to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite wood that you like using? I personally am Paduke is like my favorite. I just love the look of it. Is there a certain wood that you get and you just kind of get excited to make something out of?
It might be kind of boring. I like bird's eye.
Okay.
That's just it's just something that, because nobody knows really why. Why the eye's there. There's a million theories on how the eyes get there. From really cold climates and distraught old branches that haven't grown, and because you only find it in the coldest and most extreme climates a lot of times. And so, I don't know, that kind of just intrigues me on each piece is completely different on the eyes in it. And I don't know, I like bird's eye, kind of like the exotic of, the United States. I kind of feel like it's not that popular. So, as far as like the walnuts and the cherries and
Right.
things like that. So,
And I ask this question all the time because people always ask me, like, well, what's your favorite? Like, you're there, you're looking at it. And I always tell people that it's like choosing your favorite child. It just depends on the day. So,
That's funny.
so it really, like, for me, it honestly just depends. It's like, what am I seeing out there that, like, is really, like, I don't know. It really just, like, it just depends. I don't know. I do like bird's eye. Like, I think bird's eye is really, really cool. I like Purple Heart, which I know is, like, you love it or hate it, but it's super unique. Like, some people don't realize that it's not stained. That's actually the color of the wood. Like, it's crazy. So I like that. I think it's cool, especially when it's, like, that really rich purple color. I mean, it's crazy. Rosewood, too, is always, like, a favorite because of the cool movement that you see. But I don't know. We could talk about wood for hours, I think.
Well, I guess you're in the right field then. You guys definitely seem passionate about it. So what's for 2025? Anything exciting? Any new products that we should look forward to, or that you're trying to experiment with?
Yeah, I'd like to make a not a bigger box, a lot bigger jewelry box. So I'd like to have a chest come out this year.
Okay.
An 8, 9, a large chest. So that's something I'm working on. We have a lot of people that want bigger.
Yes.
It's always bigger, bigger, bigger. So I'd like to do a couple personal big ones like that and see how those go.
I'm gonna have this is my last question for you, and then Alena, if you have any follow up afterwards. Our industry as a whole is, I'm gonna say, older. And a lot of the artists are retiring, the gallery owners are retiring, and Alena and I are kind of the anomaly, and you guys are as well. How do you see American made or American handcrafted kind of moving forward and evolving to, so we'll say the next 30 years?
Yeah. I mean,
Hope it grows.
Yeah.
Well, we saw the big downfall with the COVID, and I think a lot of people retired during that era, a lot of the older ones, and everything's going on the internet now. So trying to sell all your products in a shop is getting almost impossible. You can't keep your money by doing that. So, I mean, I hope it comes back, and I hope American made is, a necessity that people want, and they're not just looking for the cheaper product to say all the time. So,
yeah, I think there is a trend in that direction where they're going. People don't mind spending a few more dollars for the American made, and it's interesting because Alena and I talk about this often. Is what I'm 35, and Elena's 37 or 38. It's like, what do we do for the next 30 years if all of our artists retire? So I'm excited that we've found quite a few younger artists that are getting into selling to galleries and whatnot. But we're always, what's the 30 year look like in American made? So I'm glad you guys took over.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, kind of what we've been talking about this whole time is quality, right? Like, that is, like, design, I think, has a big part to do with, like, staying relevant, too. Because, like, also, not only are, like, the artists getting older, but, like, the people that used to buy our stuff are also, like, the people that buy our stuff are older. So we want to make our stuff sellable to our age, your age, people that now have extra income to spend, and they want to buy our stuff. So, I mean, design is always an important part of that, keeping stuff fresh and relevant. But, like, for us, quality is a really big thing. Like, our stuff is like a contemporary modern design. So that is always going to be our aesthetic. Like, that's what we lean towards, but quality is, like, a huge part, whether it's in the craftsmanship itself or, like, the customer service that we provide. So like those things we always want to make sure that we're doing and we're doing really well because, you know, I mean, we've all had bad customer service experiences for one reason or another. But like, I mean, I don't think many people have had bad customer service experiences with small businesses. Like for you guys bend over backwards for your customers. So do we, you know? So I think those things are super important to keep in mind. And like, stories need to be told about those types of things so people hear it and get it out there. That like we're here, we're making this stuff, it's awesome, you know. And like same as you, like our store is awesome. Come in here, like we source all this stuff, we find it, you can feel it, you can see it, you know.
Exactly what you guys are doing now.
Yeah.
We need getting the voice out there and letting people see that, you know, there is a quality product out there that's supposed to last you a lifetime, and you're not supposed to, you know, get it, break it, and buy a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a big reason why we started this podcast too, was because we wanted people to see that an actual person makes what they're buying, you know, put the face to the item. And I think once people realize that you guys aren't just, it's not machines doing everything. Like there's, like you said, there's a, you know, it touches 4 different people before it gets to us. And I think that's such an important message to help understand. So hopefully things like this will, you know, help get that word out a little bit more too.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add, Alena, or you guys? You're welcome to say anything you want to fill in at this point.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
well, talking us on. It was fun.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your time. And I think it gave everyone a little more insight into what goes into those quote boxes they give during the holidays or for special occasions, or the beautiful jewelry boxes they have on their dressers at home. So look forward to seeing the new work that you're working on, and the larger chest is always something that people ask for. So can't wait to see what you come up with. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And I hope you guys all enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about Mikitowski woodworking. I am partial to wood. Like we mentioned in the interview, my husband does wood turning as a hobby. So it's always cool for me to talk to someone else that is passionate about it and kind of hear their take on things. And it's also kind of cool because when I first started the gallery, I worked a lot with Liz and Mike, who were the previous owners. So it's fun to see this next group taking over and how they've done it so seamlessly. And really, they have improved upon what the foundation that was already set. So I'm proud that we carry their work in the gallery.
Yeah, I think it was the most unique part for me was learning how they get the curved lids.
Yeah.
I don't know how I thought they got them, but I did not expect essentially it sounds like a machine with a bunch of blades that kind of come through, and they're set at different heights so they can get that perfect curve, and they just kind of plane it by hand. I thought that was very interesting, and you know, I'm excited to potentially see these large chests, jewelry chests. So we'll see what comes to fruition, and also learn about the curly maple or the bird's eye maple. I never really thought, how does the design get into the wood?
Right.
It sounds like no one truly knows how it gets there, but it is a very cool thing to stop and think about, that Mother Nature made these boards with these unique grains. So
yeah, and I didn't know it was a cold weather, thing either. So
yeah, it's wood's interesting, and just how it's always moving, and just what's involved in working with it. So I don't have the patience to become a master craftsman of woodworking, but I'm glad they do.
Yeah.
So coming up next week, we have Sandra Gerber's coming on the podcast, and she will also be in the studio or in the gallery on Saturday the 22nd. So you have you'll get to know Sandra on the 20th when the next podcast comes out. So make sure you like and subscribe to Shapiro's Rooted in American Craft, or you visit us on social media, or go to the website, Shapiro's Gallery for social media, ShapiroGallery.com for the website, and make sure you get to know all the different events that we have coming up. And it seems like now until the end of April, there's one every week or one every other week. So make sure you mark down all the dates so you can get to meet all the various artists and meet them in the gallery.
Yep.
And this week was Valentine's Day. Next week, Sandra. Anything exciting going on? Kids got anything going on?
No, not really. We're also next week we head to Baltimore for the big buying trip, so I'm excited for that. Looking
That's
forward to
right.
hopefully finding some new stuff for the gallery. I heard it might snow, which Avery was pretty jealous about. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't snow, but we will see. So maybe we can bring some Florida warmth up to Baltimore with us. But hopefully we can find some fun new stuff while we're there also.
Yeah, I don't do well with the cold, so hopefully it does not snow. But I guess it is what it is, and we'll make the most of it.
Yeah,
Anything else we need to touch on,
no,
or
I
is
think
this a
that's it.
wrap? All right,
Very
cool.
good.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us for our second podcast in a row. We told you we'd be back to doing a regular scheduled podcast, and we kept our word. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Thank you so much to Dan and Jessie for hopping on and giving us a little insight into what they do and how they do it. And Alena, thank you for jumping on as well. And thank you guys for listening. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends. And until next time, we will talk to you next week. Have a great one.
Bye.